Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. In today's video, we are going to be covering a New England 7-round mock draft. And this is really exciting for the Patriots. There's a lot of different things they can do to improve this roster. They were a little bit ahead of schedule this year, even with a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones. That was the really crazy part about their season. They did a great job with what they had, making it into the postseason. And they're going to be a really, really tough team to beat next year. And the draft is somewhere where they can really make some huge improvements. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. We are doing all 7 rounds. So this is going to be really action packed. We're going to address a lot of the key areas of need for this Patriots roster. And there's so much that we can do and kind of play with here. And we start off at pick number 21. Guys on the board that are definitely notable for the Patriots. You have to look at Devin Lloyd, considering the contract situations with Dante Hightower and Jamie Collins. That's the big key for me at that linebacker spot. They definitely could be looking there. Another explosive wide receiver also could be in the cards for this Patriots team. I definitely think you have to find another dynamic playmaker to really put out wide. When you're trying to develop Mac Jones, you really need a guy that can beat corners on all 3 levels of the field. And there is a guy here that does do that. So kind of looking at what is available for this Patriots pick, there's a lot of receivers I do like for this team. I think it could make some sense. You also might have to consider defense. With the potential departure of J.C. Jackson, the prize free agent of this upcoming offseason, you have to consider that very, very strongly. At this point, I think it makes sense to look at that wide receiver spot specifically. I think Garrett Wilson would be a great addition to this offense. I know they might have a little PTSD after the whole N'Keal Harry selection, but for me, I don't have that. I think that they should stick with it. I think you should get a really, really talented playmaker out wide for Mac Jones. And that is what we are going to be doing with that 21st pick. I think overall it provides value. Obviously, a guy that can really, he's a really, really good route runner. That's key for me. Also, after the catch, he can do some damage. It's really hard between him and Treylon Burks at that spot. I was definitely torn with those 2 guys. And now we jump to pick 54. We address that key area of need at wide receiver. You do improve that offense. And now you could be looking at defense because, with the uncertainty of that corner room, you have to consider it for sure. We're going to take a look at what is available. Really, really good man-to-man guy in Kyler Gordon could make some sense, especially the New England Patriots. They love their guys to cover man-to-man. Kyler Gordon could make some sense here. We're also going to look at linebacker, and you do have some interesting players that could fit in, Christian Harris being one of them. We know Bill Belichick has a working relationship with Nick Saban. So I think actually Christian Harris is going to be our pick because of that built-in relationship, plus the potential need at linebacker, considering the contract situations heading into the next season. So we go ahead and select Christian Harris. I love that for this New England mock. You go ahead, you grab Garrett Wilson and Christian Harris in back-to-back selections. I mean, you're doing very, very well from a value standpoint and really, fitting into the overall team needs for this Patriots roster. And here we are sitting at pick 85. We're going to look at the collective big board, what we do have available. A couple of tight ends, that's not a concern for me. At the same time, there's some really, really talented linebackers. Chad Muma is a guy that I really love from Wyoming. I think he's a tremendous playmaker, a guy that does not get a ton of national media attention considering where he plays. Quay Walker could be another really good guy, one of those unsung players on that Georgia defense. It's really tough between those 2. Oh, you also have Brandon Smith, who I like from Penn State. So you kind of have a nice variety of linebackers. We also do have to consider that corner spot. Corner is one of those positions where if you don't address it during the offseason, it gets really, really tough. I could see Pritchett being the selection here. Michael Wright from Oregon as well. Marcus Jones, another very, very talented corner. At this spot, I think we are going to we're not going to take a linebacker considering we just took one. I know we have a couple, notable departures. I like Marcus Jones, though, from Houston. I think he's a huge get for you. Definitely, he shouldn't have been at this pick. I think he's that talented of a corner where you can plug him in to Bill Belichick's system. You can put him on an island. He's a trusted, tried and true guy. I think that pick makes a lot of sense for this Patriots team, just considering where they're at. I love the pick at corner. So we address those top three needs, like I had mentioned at the top. Safety is another one. We don't know about McCourty's status, heading forward. So I do have my questions there. You could get some offensive line depth as well. Edge is another spot I'd like to really, really key in and focus on. But I have to look safety 100%. You do need to look safety at this spot. Nick Cross could make some sense. Dane Belton from Iowa, good ball player. For me, I think I'm going to actually go with Kirby Joseph. I think he is exactly what Bill Belichick needs. Another playmaker in that back half of that secondary, a guy that's dicey, willing to make some plays. So I'm going to go ahead and select Kirby Joseph from Illinois. Big time playmaker. And I think when you look at what we've done with this draft, definitely a defensive focus so far here. You get the corner, you get the linebacker, you get the safety. They have a lot of money actually invested in that defense, 12th most in the NFL heading into the offseason. So that's something that's kind of interesting to note when talking about this team. And now it kind of becomes at this point in the draft, value guys, depth guys, and sometimes you have to swing for that home run ball as well when trying to make some of these picks. New England Patriots, they do a really nice job sometimes finding these diamonds in the roughs. Guys that can be key contributors, really, no matter what their draft pick is. We're sitting here at pick 208, and 208 allows us the opportunity to go along that offensive line. We know Bill Belichick likes to do that. Sometimes he'll take some chances on guys. I also think it's really, really important that we look at the edge spot. Jeremiah Moon, Christopher Allen. Let's look on the interior of that defensive line. That also could make some sense. Thomas Booker's a guy. Tyrone Truesdell from Florida, another guy we could consider at this spot. For me, I have to look edge. I definitely think when you look at Bill Belichick, loves to rotate edges for sure. So you have to consider that. I think Christopher Allen, from Alabama, good pick. Once again, a little bit of familiarity with him and Nick Saban. They can give each other some insight on that. So Christopher Allen is going to be the selection there. I trust what Nick Saban's going to be feeding Bill Belichick. And, that's kind of the approach that we're looking at here. A lot of the draft is trusting people in the industry that and that you have a good reputation with. So going ahead and doing that, to me, makes a ton of sense. Getting that edge rotational guy, a guy that you can really focus in, developing wise. And we are now concluding our mock draft. Let's go ahead and look at some of those user picks that we made. So we look here, Garrett Wilson in that first round. I think it is crucial that you get that dynamic playmaker. He was the go-to guy for most points of the season at Ohio State, really emerged as a huge target for CJ Stroud. You get Christian Harrison that second round. A lot of it has to do with, familiarity with Alabama and also considering the contracts that you have coming up. Absolutely huge. And it's crucial in a Bill Belichick defense to have consistent linebacker play. That's what Christian Harris can bring. Marcus Jones, I think he's a really great get at pick 85. I think he's undervalued in a lot of these mock drafts. And once again, another terrific man coverage guy, huge for the Patriots. Then you go ahead and take a gamble on a guy like Kirby Joseph. High ceiling as well with the Kirby Joseph selection. And then finally, you conclude it with a guy like Christopher Allen. Once again, familiarity with Alabama. I love what we've been able to do with this team. I would have liked to have gotten a little bit more offensive line depth. I think that is definitely key for the Patriots. Potentially, they can address that in free agency. They can kind of get creative with their money, decide what they want to do along that offensive line. But, you can also interchange some of these, the mid-round picks as well. Or, we know the Patriots, they do like to move during the draft here and there. So go ahead and move back, acquire a couple of later round picks, and then you can kind of build out your depth through that strategy. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun doing this New England Patriots mock draft. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, please leave a like on the video if you did enjoy the content. And thanks, everybody, for stopping by, and we'll catch you in the next video.